Found in the trash, the junkyard was silent. Cold wind moved through the broken metal like it was searching for something lost. Old machines, crushed spaceships, and twisted wires covered the ground like the bones of dead giants. No one lived here. No one came here except for people like Ray. Ray was a scavenger. He came to this dead zone almost every week, hoping to find parts he could sell. His clothes were torn, his hands covered in oil, and his boots were falling apart. Still, he kept walking, scanning the piles of garbage with his small handheld device. Come on, just one working energy core, he whispered to himself. His scanner beeped. He stopped. It wasn't a machine part. The signal was different. Soft. Pulsing, like a heartbeat. That's strange, he said. He followed the signal. Metal crunched under his feet. He passed a broken fighter jet and an old robot with no head. The beeping grew louder. Then he saw it. Half buried under a pile of scrap, there was a small escape pod. One side was cracked open like it had been forced. Ray moved closer, pushing metal pieces away with his gloved hands. Inside the pod was a girl. She looked about 10 or 11. Her skin was pale, almost silver with soft lines of glowing blue under it. Her hair was white and thin like snow. She wasn't human, but she wasn't fully alien either. Her eyes were closed. Her arms were wrapped around herself, like she was cold. Her body had cuts and bruises. Her clothes were torn and burned. Ray's heart skipped a beat. What? What are you doing here? He whispered. Suddenly her eyes opened, bright silver eyes that stared at him with fear. She tried to speak, but no sound came, only a soft gasp. Hey, easy. I'm not here to hurt you. She looked weak. Her lips were dry. She tried to move, but winced in pain. Ray looked around. Above, 2 patrol drones floated in the sky. If they saw her, they would report it. The government didn't like unknown aliens, especially not abandoned ones. I can't leave you here, Ray said. He took off his coat and wrapped her in it. She was ice, cold. Her breathing was slow, but she was alive. He lifted her gently, trying not to hurt her more. Hang on, little one, we're getting out of here. He ran toward his old hoverbike, hiding between scrap heaps every time a drone passed. It felt like the whole yard was watching him. Every shadow, every broken camera, every spark of energy. Like something bigger was waking up. At last, he reached the bike. He placed her on the back seat, strapped her in, and jumped on. Hold on if you can, he said. The engine coughed, then roared to life. They raced through the dead zone, dust flying behind them. Ray kept looking back, expecting soldiers or bounty hunters to appear. But no one came. After 20 minutes, they reached the outer edge. A small shack Ray called home. It was hidden between tall rocks powered by stolen solar panels. He carried her inside and placed her gently on an old mattress. She was barely conscious. He poured some clean water into a cup and brought it to her lips. Drink. Come on, stay. With me. She sipped slowly. Her eyes blinked, then closed again. Her breathing steadied. Ray sat down, watching her. Who was she? Why was she thrown away like trash, and why did she look afraid of herself? He checked the escape pod's remains. No ID, no ship logs, only a broken piece of metal with a strange symbol, a star inside a circle with 3 lines. He didn't recognize it. Outside, the wind howled again. Ray looked at the girl. You're not junk. Someone wanted to erase you. But I won't let that happen. The girl stirred slightly, like she heard him. He didn't know it yet, but by saving her, he had just lit a match in a galaxy full of gas. Someone was going to come looking for her, and they wouldn't stop. Not until she was gone again. But now in the quiet of the junk zone, a girl who had been thrown away was safe, and the man who found her had no idea what she really was. The girl who speaks in dreams. The shack was quiet, but Ray couldn't sleep. He lay on his old couch, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling. Outside, the wind hit the metal walls. Machines howled in the junk. Fields like ghosts. But inside there was only one sound, her breathing. Soft and steady. The girl was alive. Ray had given her food, water, and a warm blanket. She hadn't said a single word, not even a whisper. But there was something in her silence, something that felt loud. He looked over at her again. She hadn't moved all day. But her eyes flicked behind her eyelids like she was dreaming, and then everything went black. Not in the room. In Ray's mind, he sat up, or at least he thought he did, but the shack was gone. The couch was gone. He was standing in a place he didn't know, cold, endless, and dark. The ground under his feet was smooth and silver, like glass. Stars floated around him, not in the sky, but up close, like they were breathing. A voice echoed. Not from outside, from inside him. She is afraid. She remembers fire. Pain. The fall. Ray turned. Behind him, a shadow moved. It was her, the girl, but older, taller, glowing, her eyes filled with light. "Who are you?" he asked. "I don't know yet," she answered. "But they want me dead." Flashes of fire exploded around him. He saw a ship, huge and silver, burning in space, people running, a woman holding the girl tightly, then pushing her into an escape pod. The girl screamed silently as the door shut. The mother was crying. Soldiers with black armor and glowing eyes stormed in. A voice shouted, "She must not survive." The dream shattered. Ray sat up, sweating. Back in his shack, his heart was racing. The girl was still lying there, still silent. He stood and walked. Over. "Was that you?" he whispered. "Was that your dream?" Her eyelids fluttered. For a moment, her eyes opened, just a little, then closed again. For 3 nights the dreams continued. Each time he saw more. Memories of battles. Alien cities with towers that floated in the sky. A silver palace filled with strange lights. And always the same woman. The mother. She wore a crown of light and called the girl Nova. Nova. Ray started calling her that. She still didn't talk. But something strange began to happen. When he was near her, things moved. Small things. A wrench would slide off the table. The light would flicker. His thoughts sometimes felt not alone. One day he walked in holding a bowl of soup. "Lunchtime," he said, smiling. He sat next to her and offered the spoon. She was stronger now. She took the spoon and ate slowly. "You're getting better," he said. Her eyes met his, for a second. She tilted her head. Then suddenly, the lights in the shack went out. The air grew cold. His scanner on the wall started beeping. Unknown signal detected. Energy surge nearby. He looked at Nova. Her eyes were glowing. "Nova?" She blinked and the lights came back on. Ray backed away slowly. What are you?" He wasn't afraid of her, but he wasn't sure he could protect her anymore. He went to an old locker and pulled out a broken alien tablet. He had stolen it from a black market years ago. It could scan DNA, alien and human. "Okay, Nova, let's find out." He took a small drop of blood from her finger. She didn't flinch. The scanner blinked, buzzed, then went silent. Result: unknown hybrid. Classified. Encryption detected. Unlocking forbidden. Ray's heart sank. What the hell does that mean? Before he could try again, a loud bang shook the walls. He froze. A drone? No. Heavier. He looked outside through a crack. A black ship had landed near the junk field. 3 figures stepped out. Tall, armored, silent. They moved like shadows. He quickly turned back. Nova was standing now, weak but on her feet. "They're here for you, aren't they?" Ray said. She didn't answer. But he saw fear in her glowing eyes. He grabbed his jacket, pulled out a hidden pistol, and walked to the door. "Listen to me. If anything happens, run. Find the tunnel under the floor." Nova walked up behind him. Her hand touched his arm, He saw something. Not a dream, a choice. Her power was growing. She could destroy them. She could protect herself. But only if she unlocked what was inside her. And to do that, she needed someone she could trust. Someone human. You don't have to be afraid anymore, Ray whispered. Not alone. Outside, the ship's engines roared, and the hunt had truly begun. They know she's alive. The black ship didn't stay long. It hovered in silence for 5 minutes, scanning the junk zone, then vanished into the clouds like smoke. But Ray knew the truth. It wasn't a patrol. It was a warning. They knew Nova was alive after they left. He and Nova didn't speak. Not with words. She still couldn't talk. Not the way humans did. But she didn't need to. Her silence had changed. Now it was filled with weight and meaning. Later that night, Ray checked the scanner logs. A signal had pulsed when the ship came. Not from outside, but from inside his shack. Nova. Her body had released a burst of energy. It was small, almost invisible, but not to them. Someone was tracking her through her own DNA. He sat on the floor, head in his hands. "What are you, Nova?" he whispered. She stood by the window, staring at the stars. The next morning, Ray made a decision. He loaded his hoverbike with food, water, fuel, and 2 plasma knives. Nova stood nearby, watching quietly. "We can't stay here," Ray said. "They'll be back. Next time they won't knock." Nova looked at the shack one last time. She walked forward and gently placed her hand on the metal wall. Lights moved under her skin, lines like circuit, and for a second the entire shack shimmered. Then it stopped. "What did you do?" Ray asked. She just blinked, then turned away. They traveled for hours through the dead zone. Dust storms rolled across the land like ghosts hiding the sun. Nova covered her head with a scarf, her silver skin glowing faintly even in the dark. Finally, they reached it. A forgotten underground base buried beneath a crashed freighter. Ray had found it years ago while scavenging. He never told anyone, not even his best friend Juno. The base was still alive, barely. He powered it up using a backup core and activated an old AI named Locke. The AI's voice echoed from the walls. Metallic, calm, too human. "Welcome back, user. Ray Donovan, unknown subject detected, analyzing." "Don't," Ray said quickly. Too late. Locke scanned Nova. The lights in the base flickered. Static filled the air. "Error. Hybrid class detected. Encryption key required. Classified as Tier 0 entity. Location alert sent." "What?" Ray slammed the console. Nova stepped forward. Her eyes flashed blue. Locke's voice choked, then stopped. "Silence. You shut it down," Ray said, amazed. She turned to him, face unreadable. But deep down, she was afraid. She hadn't meant to. Outside the base, in the upper atmosphere, a silent signal was sent. In a large space station orbiting a dead moon, an old man in a black suit opened his eyes. "She's active," he said. Another man, taller, with half his face replaced by machine parts, stepped into the light. "Send the hunters," he said. "Bring her back, or burn the planet." Back in the base, Nova sat alone in the med room. Ray watched from a distance. Her body glowed in pulses, like she was charging or changing. He had seen machines with less power than her heartbeat. He walked over holding a data chip. "This used to belong to a smuggler," he said. "Found it years ago, alien tech. Maybe it'll help us understand who you are." He placed the chip near her. Nova reached out, touched it, and suddenly the room disappeared. Ray was no longer in the base. He was standing on a battlefield. The sky was red. Ships fell from the clouds like dying birds. Alien soldiers ran across, burning metal. And in the center stood Nova, older, taller, her eyes burning like stars. She was screaming without sound, her hands raised, and the world around her was bending, breaking, falling into light. Then, it was gone. They were back in the Medroom. Nova had collapsed. Nova! Ray caught her, cradled her gently. Her breathing was fast. She looked terrified. "It's okay," he said. "You're safe." She opened her eyes and whispered one word. Her first word since they met. "Ray." He froze. "You spoke." She nodded weakly. Then everything exploded. An alarm blared through the base. Red lights. Motion detected, they were here. Outside, 3 black dropships landed. Shadows moved. Ray grabbed the plasma knives. "Stay behind me," he said. Nova looked at him. Her eyes were glowing again, but this time, they weren't afraid. First attack, the sound came like a scream made of metal. Loud. Sharp. Wrong. Ray's heart jumped. He grabbed Nova's arm and pulled her back into the shadows of the underground base. Red lights blinked across the walls. Alarms echoed like thunder. Outside, they were landing. Not soldiers. Not drones. Hunters. They weren't human. The first to drop was a tall figure in black armor, glowing with red veins. He didn't walk. He glided like gravity was afraid of him. Behind him came 2 more, one with 4 mechanical arms, and the other with a face hidden by a metal mask. They made no sound, no words, only purpose. Find the girl. Erase the witness. Leave no trace. In the command room, Ray gripped his plasma knife. His hands were shaking. "They're not military," he whispered. "They're death squads." Nova stood behind him. Her body was glowing again. Stronger this time. "Steady." Ray turned to her. "Can you control it?" he asked. She nodded. "Once." "You're sure?" A pause. Then again. She nodded. "Okay. Then let's show them they picked the wrong planet." They split up. Ray moved through the west hallways, fast and quiet. The base was old but familiar. He knew its blind spots, weak walls, and escape routes. He placed 2 EMP charges near the entrance. Nova moved silently through the east side. Her bare feet touched the metal floor, and each step sent a soft hum through the walls. The base felt her now. It responded to her. Lights blinked where she walked. Machines opened without command. Doors unlocked. It was like she wasn't just inside the base. She was becoming part of it. The first hunter broke through the main gate. EMP charge blew, but he kept walking. He wasn't affected. "They've been upgraded," Ray muttered. "Great." The second hunter dropped from the ceiling, aiming for Nova. His arm turned into a blade fast as lightning. He struck, but it didn't touch her. Nova raised her hand. The air around her rippled like water. The blade stopped mid-air, frozen, shaking. The hunter looked confused for the first time. And then, she turned her hand. Snap. His arm bent backward, crushed by a force that had no name. Ray saw it from across the hall and whispered, "That wasn't telekinesis. That was space folding." Nova turned to him. Her eyes weren't just glowing, they were changing, becoming mirrors of the star she came from. They regrouped near the core chamber. "There's one left," Ray said. "The leader." Nova looked at the walls. They shook. "You feel him, don't you?" Ray asked. She nodded slowly. Then the final hunter appeared. He wasn't like the others. Taller, older, slower. But something about him felt deeper, darker. His voice came like stone breaking. "The girl does not belong to you." Ray stepped forward. "She doesn't belong to you either." The hunter raised his hand. Ray flew backward, hit the wall hard. Nova screamed. The hunter turned to her. "You are a weapon, child, not a person. Your blood is not meant for mercy." She stood tall. No words. Only light. The air bent around her. Metal lifted off the floor. Even the lights flickered in fear. Her feet rose above the ground. Her skin lit with ancient symbols. The hunter charged, his blade ready to kill. Nova reached out, and reality broke. Not with sound, not with fire, but with silence. The hunter stopped mid-run. He dropped his weapon. He began to shake. Nova's hand closed into a fist, and his armor collapsed in on itself, crushed by invisible gravity. His body followed. Crushed, gone, nothing remained. Not even dust. Ray coughed and stood up, holding his ribs. "Remind me never to get on your bad side," he said. Nova turned to him, and for the first time, she smiled. Just a little. Then she fell, to her knees. The light in her eyes dimmed. She wasn't hurt, but she was drained. Like her power had a price. Ray ran to her. "You did it. You saved us." Nova looked at him, weak, but alive. "They will send more," she whispered. Ray nodded. "I know." He helped her stand. "But next time, we'll be ready." Meanwhile, on the moon station, the old man watched the feed go dark. "She awakened early," he said. His assistant asked, "Should we begin the purge?" The old man shook his head. "No. Prepare the air protocol. If she is bonded with the human, we may still use him." The hidden truth, the base was quiet again, but not peaceful. Broken metal, scorch marks, and pieces of crushed armor lay across the hallway like scars. Nova sat in the command room, her legs pulled close, her face pale and tired. She hadn't spoken. Since the attack, her power had protected them, but at a cost. Ray was in the med bay wrapping a bandage around his side. 2 ribs were cracked, his face was bruised, but the pain didn't worry him. What worried him was the look in Nova's eyes, not fear, not sadness, guilt. He walked back into the room holding 2 cups of synth tea. "You saved my life, again," he said, sitting beside her. Nova didn't look at him. "I didn't want to hurt him," she whispered. Ray stared at her. "You didn't have a choice." She shook her head. "I did. I chose to stop him. Forever." Silence. Then Ray said something he'd been holding inside since the moment he met her. "Nova, what are you?" She looked at him, not angry, just lost. "I don't know. But someone did, and he was waiting." Ray made a call to the only person he trusted. With alien tech Juno, an ex-smuggler turned cyber doctor. She owed Ray a life debt, and she was brilliant, even if completely insane. "You want me to scan a hybrid?" Juno shouted through the comm screen. "Do you have any idea what kind of trouble? I'm already in it." "Location?" Ray paused. "Sector 12. Hidden base under the dead freighter. On my way." Juno arrived 3 hours later. Tall, sharp, wild hair, goggles too big for her face. She looked at Nova and froze. "By the void. She's not just a hybrid." "What do you mean?" Ray asked. Juno pulled out a black cube, a living AI tool, and activated a full body scan. As the lights moved across Nova's body, the cube began to blink, then spin, then hum. Numbers appeared on the walls, strange characters, old languages. "Her DNA is rewritten. Constantly," Juno said, "like a system patching itself in real time." "Can you find out where she's from?" Ray asked. Juno touched the cube. The lights dimmed. A hologram appeared. A star map. But not just any system. This was a forbidden zone, a place erased from history. Nova stood and pointed. "There," she said. Her voice was soft. "Certain. That's where I was born." Juno's face went pale. "You're from the Valeri Empire." Ray blinked. "Valeri? They were wiped out." "No," Juno whispered. "They went silent." "Same thing." The map zoomed in, showing a massive city floating in orbit around a white star, towers like blades, ships shaped like wings, and at the center, a glowing palace. "That's the Star Throne," Juno said. "The seat of the Empress." Nova stepped forward. A memory returned. The hand of her mother, placing a silver ring in her palm. "You are not just a child, Nova, you are the spark," Juno gasped. "You're not just royalty," she said. "You're the last heir." Nova turned to Ray. "They tried to erase me," she said, "because they feared what I might become." Ray's voice was soft. What are you becoming? Nova looked down at her hands. Something new. But that wasn't the only truth. Juno ran one more scan, just for safety. Then her eyes widened. Ray, she said slowly. You have her gene code. He laughed. What? That's not possible. No, it's not. Unless, she pulled up an old med record from Ray's childhood. Files he didn't even know existed. He had been found as a baby. No family. Adopted from an off-record lab in the outer colonies. You were part of a program, Juno whispered. A gene key, made to match one thing in the universe. Nova. Ray stepped back, stunned. You mean, she can't unlock her full power, without me? Nova walked to him. You are the key, she said. But if I use it? Ray paused. Will it kill me? No answer. Juno stepped between them. Don't do anything yet, she said. This is bigger than you both. Ray looked at Nova. If it's between me and you, he said softly, I choose you. Nova shook her head, eyes wet. Don't say that. But the truth was clear now. Nova was a weapon built by an ancient. Empire. Ray was the key to unleashing her true form, and someone out there wanted them both. Meanwhile, on the moon station, the old man stared at the scan logs. He's compatible, he said. The machine-faced officer nodded. Shall we retrieve him? No, not yet, the old man said. Let them believe they are safe. A soft beep echoed in the dark. A new ship had launched, heading straight for Earth. Betrayal and fire. The sky over Sector 12 burned red at dawn. Clouds twisted in unnatural patterns. Something was coming. Something big. Nova stood on the roof of the hidden base, her silver eyes locked on the horizon. She felt it. A storm wasn't just coming. It was already here. Inside the base, Ray and Juno worked in silence. Data screens flickered with warnings. Long-range scans showed an unknown ship entering orbit. No ID, no calls, just silence and death. They found us again, Ray said. Juno nodded. This time they're not sending hunters, they're sending an army. Nova came down from the roof. We need to leave, she said. We can't, Juno replied. They'll track your signature anywhere. Nova turned to Ray. Then, I'll surrender. What? Ray stood up, shocked. They want me, not you. He grabbed her hand. No, never. Juno stepped forward. There might be another way, an old escape route, an abandoned warp gate under a collapsed city in the desert. No one used it for years, but if they could power it, Nova could jump far beyond their reach, to a hidden system, a safe place. But we need time, Juno said. How much? Ray asked. 2 hours. We don't have that. Juno smiled. Then buy me some. They packed fast. Nova didn't speak, but she stayed close to Ray. Something had changed between them. Something quiet, strong, unspoken. They reached the desert ruins by nightfall. The city was silent. Broken buildings, dead streets, sand filling every crack. Beneath the old library was the warp gate. A circle of metal and stone, half buried, glowing faintly like it was waiting to breathe again. Juno began repairs. Nova watched the sky, and Ray stood guard. Then, he came. Not from the sky. From behind. Walking through the dust, like a memory, Cade, Ray's oldest friend. A scavenger, fighter, and sometimes a thief. Ray, Cade said, smiling. You're hard to find. Ray lowered his gun. Cade? How the hell did you... Doesn't matter. He looked past him, saw Nova. His smile faded. So it's true. Ray's heart dropped. You knew. Cade nodded slowly. They paid me to find you. To find her. You sold us out. I didn't mean to, Cade said. I didn't know she was a child. Nova stepped forward, calm. They're coming, she said. Aren't they? Cade didn't answer, but his silence was loud enough. Ray stepped in front of her. If you're here to take her... No, Cade said. I'm here to warn you. They're 10 minutes behind me. They'll destroy the whole city to get her. Ray's hand shook. Then help us stop them. Cade hesitated, then nodded. I owe you that much. They set traps, old plasma mines, EMP nets, anything Juno had left in her ship. Ray and Cade fought side by side again, like old times. Nova powered the gate with her hands, connecting her energy to the ancient circuits, and Juno did the impossible. She brought the gate online. 5 minutes until it's stable, she yelled, but they were out of time. Ships dropped from the clouds, black, fast, deadly. Troopers hit the ground, weapons drawn. Nova stepped into the open. Go back, she shouted. They raised their guns, and then the air cracked with light. Nova, unleashed. Energy exploded around her, tearing the sand into glass. Time bent. Bullets froze mid-air. Her body floated as she pushed her hands forward, bending gravity into a wall of force. Ray charged into the fight, taking down soldiers with plasma blades. Cade followed, covering him, shouting like the old days. Nova held the army at bay, but her strength was fading. The gate pulsed, almost ready. Then Ray saw it, a sniper, hidden, targeting Nova. Ray ran, and the bullet fired. He pushed Nova out of the way. The shot hit him in the side. He fell. Nova screamed. Time slowed. She turned, rage filling her veins. The ground cracked. The stars blinked. And then she disappeared. Not teleported, ascended. Her body became light and fire. Every soldier dropped to their knees. Weapons melted in their hands. Ships were pulled from the sky and crushed mid-air. Nova hovered above them. Not a child, not a girl, a force, a starborn heir, and they ran, those who could. Fled. Nova dropped to the ground, kneeling beside Ray. His blood soaked the sand. You saved me, she whispered. He smiled weakly. Worth it. She held him close. Don't leave me. Never, he said. His hand touched her cheek. Unlock it. What? Your power. All of it. I give it to you. My life. My light. Take it. Tears fell from her glowing eyes. No. But his voice was fading. You have to finish this. And then his eyes closed. Nova screamed, not with her voice, but with her soul. A wave of light exploded from her chest, shaking the planet. The gate lit up, not gold, not blue, but white. White like creation. White like rebirth. Nova stepped through the light, carrying Ray's body, and the gate closed. Elsewhere, on the moon station, the old man stood before a map. She crossed the veil, he whispered. The machine-faced officer asked, Should we follow? The old man smiled. We already are. The return of the star-child light. Endless burning white light. Nova walked through the portal with Ray's body in her arms. Her feet touched the ground of a new world. Silent, untouched, ancient. This was not a planet. This was a place between life and death. She knelt on the crystal floor. The portal behind her faded, leaving only her and the man who had saved her. Ray's face was peaceful, but his body was cold. Nova's hands trembled. You gave me everything, she whispered. Now I'll give it back. Above her, in the endless sky, the stars began to move. They formed a circle, then a symbol, the same symbol from her mother's ring, the mark of the star throne. A voice echoed, not from outside, but inside her soul. You are the last, the final flame of a lost empire. You may rise alone or fall with love. Nova held Ray close. Bring him back, she whispered. Take all of me. Just give him back. The ground cracked, her body glowed. Every part of her, her pain, her power, her memories, lifted into the air like dust. The voice spoke again. A life for a life. Are you sure? Nova nodded, and then everything shattered. Meanwhile, on Earth, the sky split open. A rift tore through the clouds above the capital city. Ships paused in midair. Drones froze. Soldiers fell to their knees. Holding their heads, from the rift came light. Not just light, a storm of stars. And at its center, Nova returned, but not the child from before, not the scared girl hiding in the shadows. She was taller now. Her silver skin shimmered with cosmic fire. Her eyes were no longer afraid. They were infinite. Her voice echoed through every screen, every device, every mind. I was abandoned, forgotten, thrown away. But one human changed my fate. And now, I change yours. The Empire's fleet arrived in seconds. Warships blocked the sky. But Nova didn't move. She raised one hand mower and the ship stopped, mid-air, like puppets without strings. You erased my people. You tried to erase me. But the Star Child remembers. She closed her eyes, and the ships turned to dust. On the moon station, the old man screamed. She shouldn't be that powerful. The machine-faced officer stared at the screen. She unlocked the ancient code. The old man grabbed a weapon. Prepare the last protocol. If we can't have her... The wall behind him exploded. Nova stepped through the smoke. Alone, unharmed, glowing like a star-born god. You knew my mother? She said. The old man raised the weapon. She was a traitor. Nova stared into his soul. No, she was my guide. He fired. The blast hit Nova's chest and disappeared like a drop of water in fire. She raised one finger, and the old man collapsed, not dead but frozen in time. She looked around. Everything was silent. It's, over, she said, almost. Back on the crystal world, a heartbeat echoed. Soft, slow, steady. Ray opened his eyes. He gasped, air filling his lungs. Nova stood beside him. He looked up at her, changed, glowing, powerful. You're alive, he whispered. She smiled, tears in her eyes. Because of you. He sat up, looking at his hands. What happened to me? Nova knelt beside him. You were my key. And now, you're more. He blinked. More? Nova nodded. You're part of the code now. You're linked to the stars. You're like me. He looked at the sky. So, what now? Nova stood and held out her hand. We build something better. 6 months later, on a quiet moon, a new city rose, made of glass and light. Humans and aliens worked side by side. A school taught star children how to use their gifts. A new flag flew high, not of war or empire, but unity, peace, and at the center, in the Tower of Light stood Nova and Ray. Not rulers, not gods, just two people, two survivors, who refused to let each other go. They threw her away like trash. But one human chose to care. And from that simple choice, a galaxy changed forever.